I don't know if anyone's heard about it, but Nigel Farage resigned or stepped down from being an MP. But from what I can gather, is all just a bit of throwing a hissy fit, to quote Kemi Badenoch. So he's stepping down so that he can then stand for his MP position that he already has. So basically, I know, yes, question mark, yes, I agree, monkey. So anyway, basically, all MPs have to declare any kind of donations, which makes perfect sense because if you've received money from someone, the public has a right to question if there's going to be something in response, like they're going to get something for their money, like you're being bought off essentially. So they absolutely have a right to question that. And he did take money from some guy. I don't remember. They call him like Posh George or something. I don't know who he is. Anyway. And so he took money and he didn't declare it. And then he got questioned about that. And rather than saying, oops, my bad, I apologize. I should have done that. Here, I will now declare it. He's decided to claim that they're after him and, it's a witch hunt or something like that. I don't think he used those words, but, the same idea. And I actually saw a really great interview with Kemi Badenoch where she said, all of us have to do this. You're not special. You're throwing a hissy fit. If you can't take being in politics, maybe it's not for you because you have to be you can't be thin-skinned if you're going to be a politician. And she's absolutely right. And Rupert Lowe criticized it, and actually Kemi Badenoch both criticized it in the same way, is that by stepping down and then having a by-election, and then he's going to run for his own seat. Um, it's just going to cost his constituency a lot of money because it actually that costs money to have an election. So it's people are saying, "Oh, this is really smart" or whatever, but it's no, it's not. It's actually really I think it's incredibly stupid. And I think that he's going to lose a lot of respect for this. And it's given other politicians, who are actually on the right, a chance to just criticize him and be completely in the right. So, yeah, that's what's going on. It's not too much. I mean, I think it is a big deal in the fact that he should have just apologized, and that would have been the right thing to do. It would have been the adult thing to do, but he chose not to. And I think it's going to hurt him.
So wait a minute. So Texas is saying, I'm so confused by this. Like what? He's stepping. So he's stepping down and rerunning. So
Yeah.
the dumbed down version of this is that they caught him not declaring some money he received. So in response is like, well, I'll resign. I'll run again for the same seat that I'm resigning over. That's basically what's
Yes.
happening. And
Yeah,
how is
but the
that
thing
supposed
is, the
to?
process should be that they launch an investigation, and then they decide if he was in the right or in the wrong, or if the money was buying something or whatever, if there was any wrongdoing, and then they decide that, we are kicking you out because you received money for favors or
Oh,
whatever.
so
And so
basically, this
he's
is
trying
wait, wait,
to
wait,
yeah,
wait, wait. So this is like you can't get rid of me if I quit myself kind of strategy. Like,
exactly. Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, yes. Exactly. And then he's like, "Well, Clacton-on-Sea," which is his constituency, is they're going to I'll have them make the decision, and it's just, why are you doing this to them? Why? Why? And he believes that, they'll elect him again, and you know what? They probably will, because and this is the something that, look, when it bugs me, and I will point this out, that, I see, as a moderator for couple of channels here. I see these things in the chat all the time where people are like, "Vote Rupert Lowe." And I just have to say, it's not like that. And Tom is probably laughing right now, but it's not. You don't vote for Rupert Lowe. You vote for his party. So Rupert Lowe, in every if there's a general election, Rupert Lowe, as the head of a party, he has to find a person to stand in every constituency. So he has to find a person who's going to run for that job and put them on the ballot for his party. So there's this person for, reform, there's this person for restore, this person for conservative, this person for labor, and people vote for that person, right? And so however many MPs win the most seats that are of that, if the most in the last general election, the most seats were won by Labor MPs. And so the leader of the Labor Party became the prime minister. Okay. And so that's how that works. So you're not voting for Rupert Lowe. You're voting for whoever
So,
Rupert
so,
Lowe puts up as the MP for that constituency. And the fact is, Restore aren't that far along. They haven't existed long enough. They don't have enough people. If they had a general election, if say Keir Starmer instead, you know what? I'm not going to resign. I'm just going to have a general election. If he decided to do that, then quite frankly, Restore wouldn't be ready. They would be scrambling to try and find people to stand in all the
so,
constituencies
so
across the
Bunny, I
UK.
think Americans are confused. We should tell people what restore and reform is. So, guys, in the UK, there's two parties that a lot of anti-immigration, anti-Islamization people are supporting. One of them is Reform, with Nigel Farage being the head of it. The other one is Restore, with this other guy. What's his name? Yeah, his name again. The Restore is
Rupert Lowe. Rupert
Rupert Lowe.
Lowe.
Yes, Rupert Lowe is the head
But
of
to be
Restore.
fair
And then
to be
wait a
fair, the
second.
conservatives are
Let
against
me
it too.
Yes, and okay. So, and also conservatives are also the Conservative Party, the Reform Party, and the Restore Party. Right? They're against migration and Islamization of the UK. So the vote for against Islamization and mass migration of the UK is being divided between these three parties. So Reform, with Nigel Farage at the head of it, is now he resigned. So because they're investigating him for not reporting some funds he's received, and also, Nigel Farage is the person that a lot of people are losing hope in because he's against Tommy Robinson.
Mhm.
So can't so Texas Troop was asking a question in the chat. Can't they not just still investigate him even if he quits? Like, how's that going to save him? What's the strategy here?
I mean, that is what Kemi Badenoch said, is just, you can't stop the investigation. The investigation is going to happen anyway. And that's actually what Rupert Lowe also said, was this is just a waste of your constituency's money. They both criticize him for the same thing. And actually, by the way, it was kind of really nice in the fact that they're constantly asking Kemi Badenoch what she thinks of Rupert Lowe. And it's like they're trying to almost, get like a row started. And the thing about it is that she consistently says he steps up and he does the work for his constituency. I have no problem with Rupert Lowe. And, he does the work. He works hard for them. There you go. I'm not, like, I'd
So,
have no problem with him, and so
so
and then they try and get Rupert Lowe to criticize Kemi Badenoch, and he doesn't criticize her either. I think the two of them, I think they if
so So let
yeah,
me Nilbani, when we talk about this, we should provide context for people who don't follow UK politics. So Kemi Badenoch is the head of the Conservative Party. The Conservative
yes,
Party is a party that a lot of British people just call the Tories for some reason.
yes,
So Neil Bunny is in favor of Kemi Badenoch as the head of the Conservative Party, and she's also for the Restore Party. She doesn't like the Reform Party, and no, and the left is the Labour Party, and nobody seems to like the Labour Party. And but some people are also mentioning the Tories or the Conservatives allowed millions in, so that's why a lot of people don't like the millions of migrants in. So that's why a lot of people don't like the Conservative Party, and they're voting either Reform or Restore. But Neil
mhm.
Bunny likes the Conservative Party with this new leadership of this woman, Kemi Badenoch, right? Like, she's different from the
Yeah.
previous people, right?
Yeah, exactly, and, so I'll make it look, the Tories, they were in power for 14 years, and it's literally called the Boris wave. So, there was this wave of mass migration. He let so many people in, and that happened under Boris Johnson, a Tory prime minister. So, believe me, they messed up a lot in that area, a lot. And there was a bunch of things that they screwed up in, to be honest. But
So
the thing is that, and I will point this out all the time, is Kemi Badenoch was only in government. So she was only in the front bench. She was only a minister less than 2 years. So starting with Liz Truss and then Rishi Sunak, and then they were out of power. And then she ran for the leadership of the party because Rishi Sunak resigned. So therefore, he resigned the leadership of the Tory party. So, and then she won. So now she's the leader. So she's also the leader of the opposition. And as I've said before, if you ever want to be highly entertained, search YouTube for Prime Minister's questions and just click on it if you see a very pretty Black woman, because she is amazing. She's incredibly intelligent. And when she's just incredibly, she talks sense and she's honest and she doesn't seem to fear anything. And I just think she's the real deal, basically. And I think she only became an MP in I think it's 2018 or 2017. So it's not like she's not responsible for all of that. She just wasn't. And so to hold her responsible for what her party did for 14 years is not really fair. I just don't think it's fair. And not to mention, she's admitted it and she's apologized for the party. And people have really praised her for all her work in turning it around, essentially.
and
So I like her.
and she's also very pro-Israeli. And I saw her
Yes.
defend Israel and Piers Morgan,
Yes.
and she was really good at it. Do you think Nigel Farage, this thing that he's doing, do you think this is going to really hurt the Reform Party? The thing, like, do
I
you
think it's
think? Yeah.
I think it's gonna hurt him because it's just not. I guess it's not well, number one, it's not conservative. It's just sort of it's all about him, and it's almost like to get attention, and it's just it this kind of stuff just doesn't play well in Britain. I mean, maybe it would in the US, but it just doesn't play well in Britain. It really, really doesn't. People look at this stuff and they just see this like bloviating and just, attention grabbing and it's like Love Island, it's just dumb. We don't like this in the UK. We want people who are serious and who do their job and who work hard for their constituency. We're not keen on people, just spending all their time, making speeches in House of Commons and they're never in their constituencies. Those types of people, I don't know, sometimes they get a lot of attention, but I don't think that they get a lot of respect.
One last question from Texas is saying, is she basically Kemi? Is she like UK's Trump? Say yes.
Um,
Say yes if you want her to become more popular among American MAGA. But go
I, in the, in a sense, yes. Whereas she just pretty much says what she's thinking. It's you're not getting a bunch of speak, with her. She's just being honest. And you can feel that honesty and you can feel that sincerity. So it's just like, whereas Trump will just say whatever the hell. In that sense, yes, I think that it is maybe the British version where it's never going to be I mean, there's never going to be a British Trump. That it just doesn't fit with the type of personality that we have in the UK. But in that sort of straightforward and honest and saying what's on your mind and not being afraid of what everybody, throws at you in response. Yeah.
Okay, so some people are saying she's not honest. Are you kidding me? On YouTube are saying some people I don't like
How is she not honest? Sorry, give me an example.
I don't know. Come to our group call. Tell us why she's not honest. Leslie, come to our group call. Tell us. Okay, that was really good. Thank you, Nobody.
Sure.
I know some people have questions, I think, for you. So,
I definitely have some questions. I don't like Farage. I think he's controlled opposition. I think he destroyed UKIP. I think he is doing his best to destroy reform. This whole thing might be like a part of destroying reform. My question is, oh, Noah was ahead of me. I skipped ahead. I'm taking my mod privilege,
Go
but
ahead. Go ahead.
would Kemi fit better in reform, like be a better head of reform than Nigel? Could that just help a whole lot of things? If the Tories are not viable, is there enough to restore the Tories? Because I know what, let's say in each county you have like 40 Labour, 20 Tory, 20 Reform, 20 Restore. That you're still winning with 60. So you got to pick who of these guys can win so that the Conservatives win. Who are you going to stand behind? Who has a better chance in each county? So you get the numbers up. So if you're going to strengthen Tories, or you're going to strengthen Reform, or you're going to strengthen Restore, would you leave Kemi where she is? Would you move her to Reform and just kick Nigel out? Because Nigel could just do the same thing again. Oh, I stole money during the campaign. I know what'll fix it. Another campaign where I can steal more money. You understand? No, or get more influence. I don't even understand that. But where would you put Kemi? Would you leave her there? Would you switch her to another party? What would you do?
but before anybody answers, am I under? I'm going to check if my understanding of UK politics is correct. The Reform Party is just Nigel Farage. Like they're basically the same thing. There is no Reform Party without Nigel Farage. But Neil Benny, go ahead. Let me see if that's correct or not.
Well, no. I mean, he's the head. He's the one that started the party. It was originally the Brexit Party, and then it became the Reform Party. But yeah, I mean, he's always been the head of it, and so it. Yeah, no, there would just be another leader of reform. So I mean, he has more than one. There's more than one Reform MP. And that the reason for that is because it's been around longer. Whereas Restore, it really is just Rupert Lowe. And that's because, again, he hasn't been around long enough. You have to have people running in, he started the party after we already had a general election. So he's it, right? The only way you can have another Restore MP is if there's a by-election and he runs somebody. So if he finds somebody for Clacton on Sea and and that person for Restore runs against Nigel Farage in Clacton on Sea, now that will be interesting. Very interesting. Because if that happens, if Rupert Lowe ran somebody against Nigel Farage in his constituency, I don't know. I'd have to go to Clacton on Sea and talk to people, but my feeling is I think Restore would win. So I think that Nigel Farage is playing with fire because he pissed off Rupert Lowe by basically having his house raided. I think that's illegal, but anyway, I mean, that's some awful things the awful thing that he did to him. So, I mean, Rupert Lowe hates him for good reason. He has every reason to hate him. And, if he wanted to put somebody forward for his party, I think that person would kick his butt if he found somebody really good. And I bet he's looking right now. He is looking right now for somebody. I bet he is. And that would be amazing if he did. And if he did, then I think that would be very interesting in what would happen to reform without Nigel Farage.
I mean,
Because
not even very good, just sort of good. Just get someone in there, probably take out Farage.
yeah, I mean, look, like I said, in the local elections, it was a huge wave of people that voted for reform. But, if it had been Restore on the ballot, they would have voted for Restore. I truly believe that. But there wasn't anything. There wasn't a Restore because he hadn't been around long enough. So the only option was reform. That was sort of the protest vote, to be honest. That was the protest vote. It's like I'm not voting for Labor, but I don't trust the Tories yet. People really do Kemi Badenoch, but they're just not sure about the entire party. And I think it's going to take some time for her to do that work and sort of win everybody over to her party again. So yeah, I would love it if it was a coalition between Restore and the Tories. To be honest, that would be something I could absolutely get behind.
All right. Now, I'm sorry, Noah. I loved you. Took your turn. Please go ahead.
No worries, Sketch. Love you too, buddy. No, I heard about this when I woke up this morning, so I was a little bit shocked when he announced this. But Nail Bunny, I found the person who donated. His name is Christopher Hardborn. So that was the person who donated the money. I also think he resigned because he knew that maybe the report was going to come out soon from the parliamentary committee. And when that happens, they could decide if they want to suspend him. And when an MP is suspended, then their constituency can petition to have a recall slash by election. That could have that could have happened. So I think he just jumped the gun. But I think he is cooked. I think he's done. If it does come out and say he was unethical. And I have one last thing, and that is, strangely enough, you cannot resign as an MP in the UK. You have to be appointed by the UK's chancellor to one of these. It's an office of profit under the crown, and I've knew about this for years, but it's called the Children's Hunters or the Manor of Northstead. And when you're appointed, that makes you disqualified. So it goes around a constitutionally bar, but that's a little bit of info I thought you might like. But yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm trying to understand UK politics. It is a little odd for me. Like usually within US, if you get kicked out, you get kicked out. You have no more power in that party because you're not a member of the party, so you can't be appointed to any seat in that party. But I don't know if they can do that to Nigel, like completely have him no fingers in any parts of the party. I don't know if that's how that would go. I'm gonna let Tom go ahead and talk about this because he's also a local to UK and he might have something to say on this. Please go ahead, Tom.
Thanks, Mikey. Yeah, thanks for suggesting I should talk. I don't know much about UK politics, to be honest, but I do keep up with like who are the anti-Islamic extremists. And I haven't heard Kemi Badenoch talk so much about Islamic extremism, whereas Rupert Lowe, he talks about it all the time, and he's in with Tommy Robinson. Okay, Kemi Badenoch stood up for Tommy Robinson vaguely, but he stands up for Tommy Robinson. He's much tougher on crime than he is. I'm tougher on crime. I just think Lowe's better, but it would be cool if Kemi Badenoch then, nobody knows more about this Kemi Badenoch on UK politics in general than I do, but it would be cool if Kemi Badenoch joins Restore. That would be cool, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of had the same question. Like, would she be able to switch over here? Is she better in Restore? What do you think about this, Nail Bunny? Can they just switch like that? Does it just not work like that?
I don't think that would ever happen. So I just don't think that would happen. I think that Kemi is a dyed-in-the-wool Tory, and she truly wants to save her party. I think that is the case. But I don't think that she disagrees with Rupert Lowe on I don't think she disagrees with Rupert Lowe on anything, to be honest. But she's also head of a party of a lot more people. She has a lot more MPs than Rupert Lowe. Rupert Lowe, the thing about it is, in his position, he's very free to speak anything he wants, because he doesn't really answer to anyone. Restore is him. That's it. So he has that freedom, and that's actually very good for him, and it's actually very good for Kemi because he's saying probably a lot of the things that she's thinking, and that's the reason why I think that a coalition of the two would be very good, because you would have that much tougher wing, and then maybe the larger party of the Tories, you know, and then but that's what a coalition is all about. You argue, you agree on things, you compromise. And I do think I think that would be very good. I honestly think it would be amazing if Restore actually did run an MP in Clacton-on-Sea, beat Nigel Farage, and then it would be, and I think that it would, you know, maybe everybody in Restore in Reform would join Restore, and then that would be very interesting. They'd have a little bit more power because there'd be a lot more people saying the same things.
Yes, I would. Yes, if you could get everyone in reform over to restore, that would be great. If they was just mm, yes, I understand. I at least understand that a little bit. I We need to get a little bit. I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. I want to hear more from you. I want to learn more about the UK. I think it's great people over there that are going through things that are very worrying and very alarming in the sense that we should be alarmed because the same kind of thing can happen here. So I want to thank you very much for this topic. I think we're going to be moving on to another topic. I don't see any more two, so we're gonna go to super chats, or if you would like to have any last words on this, Harmon.
No, I just want to also thank Neil Bunny because I think we got really lucky with Neil Bunny when it comes to UK politics. I just want to appreciate her. I also see Dijal just put a 2.
All right, go ahead, Dejal.
I get, yeah.
Yeah, Nigel Farage is a fraud. He's basically controlled opposition. Monkey's brought that up several times himself. He doesn't have the guts to do what it takes. He insulted Tommy Robinson. He called him and all his supporters thugs. He called them that lot. He said he wasn't even interested in deporting even illegals or mass deportation at all. And he said that they have no choice but to appeal to the Muslim population because by 2050 they're going to be the majority. And everyone shit on him for it. And as a result, he immediately reversed all his positions. He's weak. He can't be trusted. Nobody talked about what he did to Rupert Lowe, which was scummy as fuck. Rupert Lowe actually believes what he's saying and actually wants to get shit done. He don't give a fuck. And you can tell that. I mean, just look at what he's done with the rape, with the whole rape gang inquiry. He don't care. He's out for blood. Simple as that. He also refuses to throw Tommy under the bus, just like Kimmy, who I also like. And I think a coalition between the two of them could be pretty good. I agree with nobody on that. But yeah, I mean, it's I think they actually give a shit. Nigel doesn't. They want to get shit done. Rupert Lowe in particular, like he's got the killer instinct. He really does. I think he's willing to do what needs to be done. But Nigel, no, he's weak. It's time for him to go.
I agree. I think he destroyed UKIP. He was part of sabotaging UKIP. He put a case on Rupert. And Rupert, by his actions, you have to take a lot of risk to do what Rupert did. He put that out there. He did the interviews. He organized everything to do with the inquiry. I think that says a lot through action. Nigel's got a lot of words, but his words waffle. He'll say one thing one day, another thing the other. So I would like to support what Dajjal is saying over here.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.